So you know CBeebies, that children's television network from the BBC? Even if you didn't grow up with it, they have a lot of nostalgic hits that I'm sure you've seen before. Now, walk with me here. Take another childhood icon, Nintendo, and mash them together to answer this question: what if CBeebies had a Smash Brothers? We're building a full roster from scratch with their moveset, some surprise DLC, and a challenge mode. Then, to help you choose your main, we'll even rank the entire cast at the end. Alright, starting with our first row are our pint-sized fighters, and first up is...
Bing Bunny!
We have Bing Bunny as our first fighter. Right off the bat, the stature is giving short, so villager definitely comes to mind. Now, with moves, we have a projectile plush, aka Hoppity Voosh, who, by the way, if you've never seen how Hoppity Voosh looks like, very cute. It's more so for poking at a distance. Then we have a whoopee cushion down tilt for more of a comedic attack. A sand bucket pocket move. So this is again getting inspiration from Villager, where they pocket projectiles and then unleash it back. That'd be a pretty awesome defensive move. And then we have the final smash, which is catching the toilet trolley, where Bing calls on his friends and they just run over enemies with a chain of toilets. Now that I'm reading this, it kind of reminds me of Human Centipede, which is not for children, but my mind is kind of demented like that. So now you have to suffer with me. Back to the toilet trolley. They just roll over, steamroll opponents. You're done. Just knowing the other characters that we have here, I'm gonna give them a solid B. Now that we have this base brawler for everyone to kind of get their feet wet, we're now gonna bring in a 2-in-1 fighter.
Sarah and Duck!
We got Sarah, the 7-year-old girl with big eyes and a green hat. She lives with her duck best friend. Seeing them together as a pair of besties, I'm already reminded of Banjo and Kazooie. So for moves, we can do... Let me see. Yeah, I like that. I like that Razor. Up special, flying back onto stage. If you've watched this show, I'm sure you've heard of Scarf Lady, the elderly one. She's just a grandma. So paying respects to her, we're gonna have her Scarf Lady handbag as a projectile. Sarah's favorite animal is the sea cow. How about a manatee toy counter, where she summons one forward, and if opponents attack it, it'll just go rampant and destroy you. Bringing in this final smash for the pair, we have an aerial bomb. Duck and Sarah spin upward, and then kind of rocket down towards the stage for a big... I'm gonna say B. Switching things up a bit, now it's time to go medieval.
Fight the neck!
We have the son of the king and queen of Glendragon. Given that he's a little boy, I'm already thinking young Link. Starting with a more long-range bow and arrow attack. Oh, hold up. We got... What is that? Some magic up in here? We have this feather duster counter attack. Mike can also do the spin attack up special with his sword, and we're gonna have him charge a side special bringing out his horse. Mike's signature line from the show would be a great taunt.
It's time to be a knight and do it right!
And if you're feeling fancy, we have as a skin some golden armor. I definitely think the 2 dragons need to be part of this. Love that. And we'll round it up with his dragon final smash. Both Sparky and Squirt come together in the ultimate water and fire attack. I don't know, something in me is like, he's not that bad to be a C tier. I'm gonna give low B. It's time to unveil this special group of fighters.
Small potatoes!
We have these group of spuds that sing a bunch of songs. So like maybe they could have like different songs for attacks. Each one has different abilities. So for example, like putting players to sleep or zapping them. And yes, we do have all 4 playing together. You know, you can't separate them. Just look at them. Why would you want to separate? As a special, they could like stick opponents in a planter and stomp on them. That'd be funny as hell. For a more defensive option, let's give them a down special defense buff, like an overcooked potato where it's a little hard to cut into it. Not that we'd want to cut into these potatoes because, again, they're so cute. And for this final smash, it's a perfect day. Well, for them, not for you, because each activity you go through with them is gonna be great for them, but damaging to you. It's giving B or C. I'm giving C. We've completed our first row of pint-sized brawlers, but we're not just adding the mainstream picks to this roster. So for this row, here's some wild cards.
Big and small!
Kicking us off are these two friends who live together in a chaotic house and garden in the country. What an interesting duo. So my question to everyone is, what Smash character would these two represent? Doesn't Big and Small kind of remind you of Rosalina and Luma? A silly thought, Big is so big that he deforms the shield. Since Big is gonna be like the main fighter, we can have him give like potential like shield break dash move. The pair swings on a rope for some quality recovery. They'll bring in their frogs, who are recurring characters in the show. Let's bring in a toothpaste mechanic, which is similar to Inkling's paint, which slows down players as more toothpaste gets on them.
Come here.
Now for the final smash. We'll have Small say his famous last words
Uh-oh, you found the toothpaste?
before Big's arm takes up half the screen, which you can control like Bowser's final smash. There will be a reticle appearing as you aggressively brush over opponents, damaging them with each stroke. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to do it. We're gonna have our first C-tier character. Now that we're done brushing up the competition, it's time to hit the books.
Dog.
So we got Dog, who owns a bookshop, and whenever he and his best friend Pug have a question, they read a book that helps them find the answer. We're gonna have Dog using a book in combat. I kind of like just having like a straightforward mimic, and whatever you copy is gonna be like your main attack move. The fun doesn't end there though. He can also use a scatter attack where he launches a burst of books. And for defense, he'll have a startled counter. Another idea, very gimmicky. If a dog copies another dog, then random neutral. Taking a random move from the attacker and using it against them. That would be cool. For Dog's final smash, we're bringing in a giant book cinematic. Maybe Dog Loves Books Final Smash should have a book opening that socks players inside. Oh, so like a giant like book. I'm gonna give, based off this description, I mean, I love this book idea so much. Do I do B for books? I'm gonna do a high B for him. It's been a pretty intense roster so far, so let's calm it down a bit with this next fighter.
Jelly.
From Way Blue, we have this Pipling. So now for attacks, I think a lot of it would be psychic energy. For a grab, it might seem adorable at first, but her hug is deadly. It seems like Deli should be able to stay in the air for a long period with a bit of floatiness and being able to glide. And she should also have a teleport. So she's the Wii Fit. Kind of Mewtwo I was getting. I would like the idea of a health regen. Like you know how for Wii Fit Trainer, she does her little like prayer meditation thing. For Deli's final smash, we have Hypnosis. She takes control of opponents and causes them to walk off stage. This is definitely the most peaceful final smash out of all of them. Yeah. Okay, this would low-key be one of my mains. This is so cool. As South Park said, it's gonna be an S. Like that's not even a question. Like high S. Now that we're done getting in touch with nature, it's time to head over to the scrap heap.
Tiny.
From the little robots, we have this group of friends, Tiny being the representative. He'll have a repair move, fixing himself up. You can also have him bring in tools used in the show, kind of like Mr. Game & Watch and his hammer. Has this golden belt, and I can imagine a laser shooting out of it. Because he's so small, right? Or like he has armor, but hitting the antenna weakens the armor. That could be sick. For Tiny's final smash, it's a trash-a-lanche. The stage starts shaking as a crane overloads scrap metal onto the stage, burying everyone in sight. I think we have a lot of final smashes where it's like they're calling on someone else. So that's my reasoning for having something a little bit different. Okay, hold on. The armor is a really cool mechanic. I liked that a lot. Let's do B. Well, it's been fun touching on these wild cards. It's time to get real with the big hitters.
Pingu.
They have a Pingu Newt for 1 hour? What the hell? Okay, let's see this. What? Coming from Antarctica is this clumsy young penguin. He'll bring in his little sister Pinga and throw her around for some attacks. Pingu can also bring out a fish hook like Isabelle for grabbing other players. He can summon an ice block and push it forward as a projectile, sliding around stage and freezing anyone it crashes into. I just think also, someone mentioned this, I don't remember who. Pingu has a beak, so most of those quick jab attacks would be beaks. I think the biggest reason for Pingu is so you could spam this taunt. final smash, Pingu is bringing in his nightmare, a giant walrus that tramples over enemies as it goes across the stage and slaps players off screen. I have Pingu twice on here. That's how you know. Pingu. S. We're bringing back the music with this next group.
Tweeties!
There's this group of 4 lizard-like preschool-age characters playing, singing, and dancing in a fictional nursery in England. Just to shake things up, instead of having all 4, which can be a little bit intimidating, you can split them up into pairs. Okay, they're using a lot of these like aerial kind of transportation type moves. For their moves in an aerial attack, the pair climbs into this vehicle, dashing forward. And like the little potatoes, they'll sing for different abilities. For example, a stun attack or putting opponents to sleep. Okay, they're gonna be more like a we want to catch you off guard type of attackers here. More defensive. Bringing the squad together for their final smash, we're also releasing their dogs, Doodles and Izzles. These dogs are gonna run wild around the stage as they bite into players, knock them over, or just launch them off screen. Just because I love that mechanic of being able to switch between 2 groups. That's really cool. I'm gonna say that's an A. Low A. Sticking with this multiple fighter theme, let's bring in this brother-sister pairing.
Charlie and Lola!
This show follows Charlie, the older brother, teaching his little sister a bunch of life lessons. Those sandwiches look delicious. Since they love the arts, we're gonna have this pair dual-wielding crayons for their primary weapons. They'll use these to slash through players, and for recovery purposes, they can draw a line with their crayons, bringing them back onto stage. Let's also give the pair food projectiles like tomatoes. Lola summons her imaginary friend, Soren Lorenzen, who briefly appears as a ghostly figure. Did you... This sounds very AI prompt. Since she makes her cameos as a final smash, we're summoning Soren Lorenzen, the ghost version of Lola. But to expand on that, we're also giving Charlie a ghost too, so even in ghost form, the pair can work together, haunting other opponents. Low A for Charlie and Lola. It's now time to close the row with this iconic pick.
Ego Pego!
It's about time we have a rep from In the Night Garden in here. Okay, now that I think about how much this character uses their blanket, I'm thinking that has to be his main weapon. He'll have a matador-like counter, waving it in front of him as he baits opponents to strike, only to catch them off guard. It would be cool to see Iggle Piggle use the blanket like Mario's cape, reflecting back objects or changing enemies' positioning. And remember this infamous ball? Let's have it beam it to mix things up. Oh, ooh, we're bringing in some multiverses action here. Okay. What is more iconic, the Ninky Nonk or the Pinky Ponk? And for his final smash, Iggle Piggle and his friends climb aboard the Ninky Nonk and at a painfully slow speed run through enemies. The icons are S's. That makes sense to me. We still have 2 rows of this main roster, with the next being tactical fighters.
Octonauts!
This team of undersea explorers is joining as 3 playable characters in one Pokemon trainer style. You'll be able to rotate between Captain Barnacles, Quasi, and Shellington. Let's do some shared moves. Starting with a grab, the Octonauts use a net, and this won't go far, but it's gonna do some heavy damage. Oh, they have a vehicle. Oh yeah, that would easily be part of it. Ooh. As a side special, we'll bring in the Gup vehicle, which acts like the Wandering Wing, doing heavy damage, but it has a limited number of uses. For their down special, the group calls in a giant clam, which briefly traps players. For the Octonauts' final smash, we have the Creature Report. They'll call on all the undersea creatures who flood the stage, terrorizing opponents in their path. Octonauts down. B, A. I'm giving it an A. Yeah, I think that's solid A tier. Alright, we're already talking about animals, so let's just bring in another with this next fighter.
Doggy!
This friendly dog is the leader of the Squirrel Club, where kids go to have adventures and earn activity badges. Ooh. So it seems like Hey Dougie is more of like a heavier character. He has an Incineroar flare going for him, so let's use that as a template. Starting with Dougie's neutral special, he'll spin around to attack the opponent, but unlike Incineroar for Dougie, he's gonna use more of a dance move. I feel like we can have like a bear hug as a move, just the fact that he likes hugging. This sounds very morbid, but suffocating opponents. Dougie brings out the chickens to use like Olimar's Pikmin, except they won't have any special abilities. Perhaps you can call them his Chick-min. Ha. Dougie's final smash is the Squirrel's Dance. In this cinematic, the club members crowd around all enemies as they dance, before bringing it in for a huge implosion. Cool, we're done with Dougie. Part of me wants to place him here, and I think that's where he's gonna stay for now. High A. While Dougie stomps around the battlefield, coming up, this fighter is ready to hop.
Peter Rabbit!
This mischievous rabbit carries around a journal as he goes on adventures. Just looking at Peter Rabbit, I can see him being the Yoshi of this game, but a tad slower. To start, Peter has a never-ending stash of his radishes, so being his go-to vegetable, he'll be able to throw them repeatedly. That could kind of be like, what's her name? Peach's move. I forgot what it's called, where she throws like the turnips. But the vegetable attacks doesn't end there. He also brings down a head of lettuce as a down smash. The journal. All right, let's see. The journal contains the following things. Maybe that could be kind of like Hero with the spells. And for mixing things up, he can do a giant hop up special. And for Peter's final smash, the three of them go on a ride, like in the intro of the show. They'll fly down a hill, knocking back anyone who tries stopping them. I mean, iconic can get you so far. Low B. We're finishing up this row of big brain fighters with some math.
Number blocks!
We have 3 friends from Numberland, 1, 4, and 8 coming together for these reps. Borrowing from Shulk's Monado Arts, you should be able to switch seamlessly between them through a radial menu. Obviously, they're gonna have different moves because of the size. To dive a little deeper, 1 kind of gives me this vibe that they're gonna be a gnat, like they're gonna be super annoying to face. 4 can launch themselves as a boomerang or break themselves apart into the terrible 2s. 8 has good grabs. Yeah. Like this one would definitely be kind of like the UFC fighter of them all. Like they're just like evolutions building on each other. And as a final smash, it's time to unleash 10. Not only is she gigantic, she'll shift between different block combinations as she crashes into enemies. If there's a 13, I think I'd want that more than 10. I think 10 is fine. That's a nice, you know, good number, even number. S? I'm thinking S. It's now time to unveil the last 3 main roster picks, also known as the hosts.
Captain Gemma!
The pirate presenter has arrived with all her jewels. I definitely see this being more of a... Oh, high-key explosives. Why didn't I think of that? Explosive mines. You can set them down as mines to catch players off guard. Go back to that one episode where she learned how to become a conductor, so we'll have her use a baton for controlling the winds. Very Wind Waker coded. For even more range, a little telescope. Okay, yeah. Telescope projectile. I can definitely see that being a thing. Okay. Perfect. For Gemma's final smash, we're paying respects to the end of the show, where we have buckets of swashbuckle slime cover the stage. But for this fight, it'll be poisonous as it leaves players burned. I'm gonna say the highest of B's. Switching things up, we're going to this animated world for the next fighter.
Todd!
This boy is using his active imagination on the battlefield. Create an art block in front of him that acts as a temporary shield that explodes if anyone dares messing with it. Ooh, yeah. I like that. Okay. Oh, yeah. A skateboard could be sick. Skateboard, like Todd is our Steve, potentially Uni. Another special, Todd searches for his dog Benny, who's burrowed himself in a pile of clothes. For each piece he hurls away, this does a bit of damage if it makes contact. All right, so we have that. We have a stage. Oh, we need a final smash. We're gonna go with a rabid dog idea. Todd and Benny cheerfully play with each other, unaware that their actions are actually hurting other players. It's the most wholesome final smash of the group. I'm gonna put Todd as A. High A though. Now it's time for our final pick of the main roster.
Lingo.
We're bringing in this bug who was like the original Duolingo teaching children languages. I like the idea of him having a slight hover too for a bit of an aerial advantage. Let's put that bow tie to good use as a boomerang. Get it?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Let's also have Lingo call in his friends for assists. The French butterfly. So creative. Hold up. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Just a thought, queso, the Spanish cockroach, could be Lingo's side special, who uses his guitar to attack. Lingo's final smash, the Lingo Swarm, has him calling on an army of bugs who take over as if they're getting ready for the show, kicking out anyone who isn't there for children's education. I can agree on that. That's a pretty unanimous decision. Now that we have our main fighters, I know we couldn't cover everyone's favorite, but maybe they'll come up with the following DLC fighters. The Quiz Crew lets switch between Ninky, Twist, and Kit. They can use their animal sidekicks to fight, and a final smash bringing in the pods as they race around a stage, finishing off fighters. I'm gonna say high A. For another host pick, let's bring in Mr. Maker, who fights with his arts and crafts skills. Using his scissors, he'll cut through players or make it rain with his art projectiles. For a dancing final smash, Mr. Maker summons the shapes. Let's do it. Give him a B. For you troublemakers out there, this next DLC is for you, Norman Price. He'll knock over test tubes, creating an explosive attack. Norman sets the stage ablaze with his final smash. Nobody's safe from his mischievous activities. Oh, I almost put him in S. No, sorry, you don't belong in S. But a good A. Following that rowdy kid, we have the wholesome Twirly Woo family. They'll have a strong aerial game flapping those feathers constantly. For the family's final smash, they'll ride the stop-go car, which acts like Wario's bike on steroids. I'm gonna say low S though. I don't think they could compete on the same level. This next fighter brings some nature-based attacks with the strength of these guys. Trifu Tom has a draining punch, and for his final smash, he'll surf his leaf in style, knocking out players along the way. I think we could compromise and make him a high A. Soup Potato joins the fight as he zips around stage. I can't get over this plunger rope tool and can see that being used for some recovery. And as a final smash, it's a salad war where fruits and vegetables become supers as they take turns serving up a whooping. Soup Potato would get their ass kicked. I'm giving low C. It's only right to bring in Upsy Daisy as DLC. This ballerina's light on her feet, think Peach Daisy, but Upsy Daisy puts on a special performance final smash where she does a deathly dance, launching everyone off stage. I'm just gonna put her a little below Echo Piggle. The Go-Jetters are bringing their gadgets in for combat. The four of them use their guns for different abilities, like the freeze gun and this bolt one. They'll have to bring in their vehicle, the Vroomster, in their final smash, but I'll compromise by giving you a low A. Boo, on the other hand, not really a fighter, more of a hider. He has a special mechanic where attacking from behind does extra damage. For Boo's final smash, he goes into hiding, and when players least suspect it, he strikes with a fury of attacks. We're thinking B's? Just because he isn't as much of a fighting character, it's a little bit harder to use him because he can sneak around. This next duo is gonna play like the Ice Climbers, Abney and Teal. They'll use their bowls of porridge for slipping fighters up. In the pair's final smash, we're blowing bubbles with Bop. I'm gonna say low B. And for our final DLCs, we have the Bobbinogs. Every time they play their instruments, musical notes appear as they travel towards players, damaging them. In the group's final smash, a rock band rave, the squad goes out of control, playing a damaging show. I'll give it to you. A low S tier. We now have a cast of fighters, but the fun's still to come as we reveal our last picks for the game in this challenge mode. First up, we're heading to the early 2000s, vibrant, bright-colored stage straight out of the dumping ground. It's Tracy Beaker. She starts in her human form with an unpredictable bratty moveset, but once you've defeated this form, she becomes a cartoon and gains a shouting stun. After defeating Tracy, she'll revert back to human form as she's crying, begging for your forgiveness and for her mummy. It's the S. I think she deserves S. Alright, we've got another classic icon next. It's time to face Postman Pat. But the poor man's is just doing his job. Getting inspiration from the Specsavers advert, he's unaware that he's fighting you. The postman is on a reckless drive through his usual mailing route. But this time he also has some really hazardous cargo. The postman's dropping bomb parcels and postcards that do light damage. So based off of that, S. In our next stage, you're an honorary member of the Kerwiz crew in this 4v1 against Burping Herbert. He's pretty slow moving but can swallow fighters and trample over them. Also, watch out for these random projectiles he belches like rocks, letters, and numbers. It's a team effort trying to take him down. We'll put him at a very low C. We're getting artsy with this boss, Penny Crayon. She's mostly stationary at her desk, drawing up hazards and fighters protecting her. She'll be able to trap you by drawing up tombs and black holes which suck people in and are crazy damaging. Once you get to Penny, she's not even defenseless. She'll stab you with her pencil. I'm gonna put her more towards A. A very high A boss. Let's build up the intensity with this next boss, Roly-Mo. Roly-Mo picks up players, throwing them side to side, and can perform a jumping body slam. He'll also create tornadoes from flying books that can do some serious damage. Halfway through the fight, he calls on Yugo and Migo to help, so this is the true test of your endurance. High A. Right, we're getting a bit dark with this battle against Spud the Scarecrow. This guy has some big Sora-like feet for dashing. He's super agile as well, and don't even think about escaping through the air since he can use a Wario Waft for launching him upwards. If you're thinking about his weapon, he's gonna use his nose as his main one, as he'll skewer you if you're not careful. Also, the longer you fight him, the more his nose grows, so it's best you beat him down early on. I like S tier for Spud. S for Spud. Not me putting everyone in S right now. Before we get to the final boss, you'll have to make your way through this numberjack stage set in the couch. 4, 5, and 6 are trapped by all 5 meanies. Thankfully, though, you're not alone as you've called on 1, 2, and 3 to help take them on. Starting with the Shaper Japer, who changes shape around the battlefield, causing a distraction. Then there's Spooky Spoon, expect some unpredictable shrieks causing stun damage. Then there's the Number Taker, who has their vacuum trying to suck you up. On top of all of this, there's still Problem Blob, who spits out poisonous green blobs. And finally, the Puzzler with their entrapment bubble. Let's say a bit of a lower A. Alright, it's all come down to the final CBeebies boss. And what better way to end this challenge mode than with the Bugbees? Yes, the yellow blobs that are always shown with the CBeebies logo. Well, this time, you're gonna face 100 of them. They'll start off as one huge one though. Every time you hit this foe, smaller Bugbees fly off as separate fighters. But the twist is, the Bugbees have the ability to team up and release from each other at any moment. But yeah, fighting your way through these suckers is the best way to close out this game. To me, that's an obvious S tier. Alright, that's a wrap for the CBeebies Smash Brothers crossover. Who would you add to this game? And if you want to keep reliving childhood memories, here's another video that YouTube thinks you should watch next.